Hello, are you ready to paint a mini painting with me? I recorded this live and then it sounded terrible. So I'm doing a voiceover and trying to figure out what I was saying in the moment. Right now, I am showing you how I think the painting's going to go. Some puffy clouds on top, some wispy green grass, picturing a blue sky, some mountains, which you know I love because I live in the mountains. Now I'm probably talking about the color I'm mixing, but I have no idea. I'm telling you how I taped down the paper, because if you don't tape it down, unless it's on a watercolor block, yeah, it'll do that thing that my hand just did. It might get curly, it might get wrinkly. It's just generally hard to work with. So tape it. Maybe I'm telling you right now you could draw. Okay, here we go. I'm mixing cerulean blue with ultramarine blue to make kind of a medium blue sky color. You can use whatever color blue you have that makes you happy. Oh, I think I then compared the color to a Sesame Street character, maybe Grover. And then I told you about a very fuzzy blue bathrobe that my mother had in the 80s that was very much this color, and how our white cat, Lightning, loved that bathrobe. I think in hindsight, Lightning was maybe taken away from his mother too soon, because I think he thought that bathrobe was his mother. Eventually, I'm going to start painting, but I don't know when. Oh, there's my hand. I'm describing something. I think I'm telling you, you could do a pencil drawing if you want it ahead of time. I don't usually do that. So I'm going to draw the outlines of where I want the puffy white clouds. So I am using the tip of my size 4 round brush. I love a round brush. You will hear me say that over and over again. I'm going to draw another one, or paint another one, I guess, with the tip of the brush. And then I don't want the edges of the paint to get dry, because then there will be like a very clear outline. So I'm going to go back in right away and kind of fill in that outside area. Reminder that watercolor dries lighter than it looks. So like acrylic paints, I think, if I remember correctly from my years of acrylic painting, tend to dry darker. I'm going to add one more there at the top. But watercolors dry lighter. So if you're feeling like your colors are a little too dark, most likely it's not going to be as dark. This is me drawing the outline of the mountains that I want to, like, that's the shape that the mountains will be. So I'm kind of painting everything that I can and then filling in the blue as I go. I'm just trying to do one shade of blue. I'm not trying to make any of the areas look any different or add anything else, just trying to get the basic shapes of this sky. Woo! That was too dark. So then I'm going to I dry off my brush a little, and I'm going to lift some of that color out, which is very, very convenient. And then just kind of go back and fill it in. Actually, I think I grabbed a little bit of a different blue there, but you know, sometimes things happen. So now I will finish, I assume, filling in the rest of my sky. Here we go. We're doing it. All right. Now I can't paint the mountains because the mountains would bleed right into the sky if I tried to do that. So I'm going to paint the lower grassy section. I think that was the watercolor exploding into the top. So I'm going to mix a yellowish green kind of color. If you don't have a bunch of different colors, you can get a green just by mixing yellow and blue. That makes green. And the more yellow there is compared to the blue, the more yellow your tone will be. So I started with that kind of springy green, and it looks like I have mustard on my palette. So I'm going to add some more green to it, I guess. Hard to see. It's kind of hard. There we go. Good job, Jen. You got it in there. All right. So now I'm going to draw this horizon line, this flat horizon line, because, if it's far away, it's mostly just going to look flat. But as I paint what would be closer to the viewer's eye, I'm going to paint up and down. I don't know, depending on how much you do, if it all blends into one thing, you might not be able to tell the direction of the strokes, but I like to paint in the direction that I want the thing to be. So that's why I'm painting all these different vertical lines for this section. In a moment, I'm going to mix a slightly darker color. I'm just adding a little bit of the blue color from the sky to the green that I already had mixed. And then that way, I will have more than one color green. So here we go. I'm adding that slightly darker color. Getting some more. And I make lines both up and down. I do find to make grasses and stuff, my favorite technique is to go from the bottom to the top. Just tend to get a better point that way. And I think I do go back and add one more color. And I know for a fact that as I was finishing up, I said that I was going to let this dry, and in the meantime, I was going to take a shower, and that when I came back, I would smell better. So that is something I am sure I said in the original recording, and you are welcome for getting to hear it again. All right, so let's let this dry, and I will see you soon. So here I am continuing with my voiceover after the fact. I think the first thing I did was work on the clouds. So I added some more water to that sky color. You can't hear me doing it because I've removed the original sound, but I think I'm mixing up a little bit of that color. I'm making it lighter. Oh, good job, Jen. Yes, I showed you. Okay, so I'm grabbing that. I think I'm just continuing to add water to it so it's really light. And everything is completely dry now. You cannot do this when it's wet. So I'm kind of drawing a bit of a shadow on the bottom of each of the clouds. And now, once I have finished that, I'm going to dry my brush off. Yep, see, I'm drying it off. And now I'm just going to feather up a little bit, try to make that not such an obvious line. I'm going to do that all around. I'm going to buy a microphone. I already have one in my cart. I'm going to buy a microphone so that I can record these live because it's much easier even when I forget how to talk because I'm too busy being creative. But I want you to be able to hear what I'm saying, which is why I'm doing this voiceover, but hopefully I'll have a microphone soon. Just tapping in a little bit more color all around. Tap, 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 tap. A round brush is truly just incredibly versatile. I don't know what I'm doing now. I guess adding a little more color. I'm telling you something about the clouds, or maybe I'm telling you that I'm gonna make the mountains. So I do know that I mix an even darker blue because, not blue, green, because I wanted a contrast there between the mountains that are far away and the field that is up close. So here we go, filling in the mountains. I will do my best to kind of follow that line that I created before. And I did mess up slightly. Much like life, there will be errors and things will not go the way that you planned, but they might turn out better than how you planned. You just don't know. You just keep going and making the best of it. Boop, ba-doop, ba-doop. We're filling in the mountain. We're filling it all in. We're filling in the mountains. Okay, now I'm going to dry off my brush. Am I going to show you? Okay, I dried it off, and now I'm going to remove some sections of the green. Why? Because I live here in the Blue Ridge Mountains, and when it is sunny and when things are green, when you look out, you see various ridges. The mountains are not obviously flat, they're not completely smooth. So I'm kind of trying to create that illusion that there are some different ridges. And I just keep going back and drawing off my brush on my towel. You can use paper towel, whatever you have. And I'm just gonna continue to make some little kind of like lines and mountain shapes on my mountains. See, they already look a little more three-dimensional once you do that. All right, I think now I'm going to put in some low grasses. Let's see. I must be mixing. I'm telling you something. I'm pointing to something. I think the green that I mixed up was very similar to the mountain color. I may have even used the mountain color. Oh, I'm drawing some lines kind of like in the distance just to make it look like there's a little something going on there. And now I will start drawing lines. Again, just taking the point of my brush and just like very, very lightly touching the watercolor paper and just kind of like flicking upward. And I will fill it in some, and then I believe it will be time for us to let this dry before we do the final layer. It's time for the very, very final touches. I'm going to add a little bit more to the clouds because I want a little bit extra just kind of texture and details. So I'm going to use pretty much that same color that I was using, plus I added a tiny bit of purple, and I'm going to go along the bottom, just try to make a little bit more of a shadow, and I will add it, and then I'm drawing off my brush to kind of feather out that section that I made because I don't want that color to be so stark. So, a regular cloud isn't just flat and white. I mean, I don't really care about making things look perfectly realistic because that's no fun to me. But I do like, to add some hints of details here and there. So we'll do it on these clouds. And then it's time to I'm going to add some dots of the dark green color onto the mountains. I'm kind of trying to give that additional texture of treetops because of course the mountains are all green because of all the trees. So dot, 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 more dots. And I believe I also said that I wasn't sure if this was a good idea, but I was doing it anyway. And that's true. I don't think I've done that before in a mountain painting. So I wanted to try it. And then I'm going to go back with that lighter green color that I used for the grass and do some dots where I made removed paint. Yep. Again, to be like, oh, look, there are trees here. And then finally, oh yeah, I got a little paint up there. And then finally, I'm going to add a final layer of darker grass in front of all of the other grasses that are already there. I believe I just used the color from the mountains. Maybe I made them. No, you know what? I mixed. Sorry, that was really loud. So I mixed up kind of a darker green brown color by using the green that I had been using, and then adding a darker green to it, and then adding some Naples yellow. You do not have to try to use the colors I am using. You just find some colors that make you happy. So this, you can see that's quite a bit darker. We're going to do some wisps. Originally, I thought maybe I would want the grass to go up really high, but I ended up feeling really happy with how tall this grass is. And then finally, I will remove the tape. Don't remove the paper. I will remove the tape. Here we go. I'm thinking about it. There we go. I will remove the tape so you can see the final lovely, tiny little painting. It's so cute. Ta-da! Thanks for being here. If there are other things you want me to paint or ideas that you have, drop them in the comments, and please subscribe. I'm so happy to have you here.